This is Get Real with Bob and Stacy, the show that helps you learn about the mortgage and real estate markets. Get the inside scoop from their expert list of guests and have some fun along the way. Now, here's Bob Gallagher and Stacy Alcorn.
Bob and Stacy, you're joining us for our Leaders and Legends segment, and our first guest today is Marjorie Goodson, author of the coffee table book MG. Welcome to the show, Marjorie.
Thank you so much, Bob. Great to be on the show.
So I want to give everybody a little more background on Marjorie. She is the daughter of Mark Goodson, creator, producer of some of the most popular game shows in the history of TV. Family Feud, The Price is Right, Match Game, To Tell the Truth, Beat the Clock. She recently published her first luxury coffee book called MG. She has been seen in Cosmo, Lifestyle Magazine, and Upscale Living Magazine. She lives in Beverly Hills. The book, and by the way, for anybody listening to our program, my bio is going to do not enough justice. You have to go to our website, marjoriegoodson.com, because the pictures will just absolutely pull you in. But the book includes 153 commanding and empowering images by noted Romanian-born art and fashion photographer Andreea Ratatouille. I'm probably screwed that up, but
That's okay.
she is captured in glorious color, dramatic black and white, and stimulating tones the magnetic and glorious 55-year-old Goodson. Holy cow, that's you, Marjorie? These pictures that I saw?
Me. That is me.
Holy cow. I didn't even realize that until I'm reading this, but that's why anybody listening has to go to Marjorie's website, marjoriegoodson.com. So first of all, wow. Tell us all about the book, Marjorie.
Thank you so much. First of all, the response, I'm not even sure I need to say anything else. I could just hang up right now and I'm in heaven. So thank you for that. It's always wonderful to hear yourself sort of coming back at yourself. But no, I was sort of thinking about this because it's been asked to me, why MG? Why did you do it in the middle of your life? And certainly the book itself, the goal to create art was certainly there. I've always been a dancer since I was a little girl. So the opportunity when my daughter went off to college, and of course I had to deal with the empty nest syndrome, which so many women have to deal with. And I thought, well, I'll throw myself back into ballet, which was my first love of my life, and my second love being jazz. And I did that for about 2.5 years. And then the idea of this book came to me because when my daughter had gone off to college, I had created these coffee table albums that were really more like photographs of her horseback riding. She's an amazing equestrian. So I remember doing that, and I thought, I could do something like that, but for dance. But, of course, never really realizing the extent and what it would take for me to do that. And it was really going to just be one book. It never was meant to be published. And so when I began working with Andreea Ratatouille, because it's still taking me forever to figure out her name, and, of course, the amazing Torsten Witt, who is from La La Land, who does the hair and makeup, and the girl with the dragon tattoo. I have such an amazing dream team. We got together, and this book started to come about of me dancing and doing different images and different types of imagery. I didn't want it just to be dance because at my age, at 50, I'm not a young ingenue anymore. I'm gritty, I'm edgy, I'm provocative, and I think that all comes from just years of living and doing. And so I wanted to show me at the age that I was, which was 50. And it did, and I'm so proud of it. And I'm so proud of it. In fact, I'm going to torture myself, and I'm doing another book called MG2. So, which is even more insane and deals with a lot of paint because I'm also an artist and I paint. A lot of people don't know that, but so I wanted to use paint as what I call my dance partner. So that's going to be a lot of fun and very messy.
So, do you still dance?
Oh, I do. Oh, absolutely. I take ballet and I do mostly jazz classes now. But I have been injured. I've been injured, so it's a little difficult.
Okay. Because I want your legs. Like, is that from? So, for example, like I've never been to a bar class, But bar is off of like ballet, correct?
Yes. It's a wonderful combination of the sense of it brings in that dance element. So working at the bar, doing pliés,
Yes.
doing leg extensions. A very good friend of mine named Marnie Alton, who is amazing out here, if you ever come out to Los Angeles, and she does an amazing bar class and is very sort of spiritual and sort of it incorporates everything, the mind, the body, and all of that. So,
right.
But I do, strictly jazz classes, and then I do a thing called gyrotonic, which I don't know if a lot of people know about, which was developed by a dancer for the spinal health. And because he had a spinal injury. So I do that, I train, and pretty much torture myself, Stacey, on a daily basis. I don't stop moving.
Yes, but you can see it in the pictures. They're phenomenal. Now, I know that this book is somehow connected, or you connected it to the Actors Fund Career Transition for Dancers program. Can you tell us about that program and why you support them?
Yes. Well, actually, it's for my second book coming up, but it's really I've always been very philanthropic, and I think one of the things is that when I started creating my own art, I also wanted to, once I saw the reception of how this book was being seen and that I could actually have a voice with this book, I really wanted to give back. And so I thought, what better? Someone told me about the career transition for dancers and that it was under the umbrella of the Actors Fund. And I was like, bingo, like this couldn't be more perfect for me, because as a dancer, someone who is also in transition in her life, moving through her life, I thought this is perfect. And what it is programs that deal with for dancers who have been dancers in professional and otherwise other means, and they're moving out of that career and looking for another career, another opportunity in their life. And what it does is it sort of allows this seamless transition, both psychologically and and otherwise, to go into another phase in your life. And I thought, this is so custom made for me. I can't stand it. Like, you just sort of wait for those gifts. And because you go out and you think, I want to do something that has meaning for me, and that if I talk about it, it's really going to speak to me. And so when someone told me about it, I was like, I'm done. Like, this is just perfect for me. And it really tells me about, where I'm at in my life, because that's what I feel, that I've reinvented my life after my daughter went off to college, and that art never has to stop. Your passion never has to stop, that you can continue at any age, because I say, art has no rule books. There's no oh, I'm 50 now or I'm 60 now, and, you can do it at any age.
What does dancing mean to you? And what do you think about, I'm 46 and I've never danced. What do you think about people getting into it later in life?
Well, I think that movement, no matter what you do, is important. So naturally for me, dance is my first love. I always say try it. Obviously it's difficult to do ballet, certainly, but something like jazz or hip hop is so fun. I'm always like, just get into it. I mean, there's so many different styles now that absolutely, I think any kind of movement is important. And 46, you're a baby, Stacey. Come on, let's it's great. You would love it. You would absolutely love it. And as far as dance, for me, it's my life. It's my breath. It's my oxygen. I can't even imagine not doing it.
Right. Now, it looks like you have some really cool locations and all the photography, just looking at the samples that you have on the website. Is there anything significant about each of the locations that you chose?
They're significant in that that I wanted something that had sort of a gritty, textural element to them, and so very architectural. So, for example, some of them were downtown, dealing with cement and sort of this edgy, raw, sort of slightly dirty element. Some were at the beach, so you're dealing with rocks and water, but again, very textural, very earthy. loved working in the sand because there's a picture of me literally after I'd been thrown in the ocean, tossed around like like I was in the dryer. And I was so tired, and I sort of fell over into the sand, and just out of sheer exhaustion. And Andrea took a picture of me just with my head in the sand and dirty and my hair. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm in love with this photograph because it was so real and so authentic. And I think that was what I wanted to capture in the book, was this sort of this gritty, earthy, physical sense. And by going to different places downtown, we were in a warehouse that was slightly raw and edgy. I think we were able to capture that.
Wow, absolutely. Just on the pictures that I've seen. And then what about the costumes? Because it looks like every picture has just not only a really cool location, but also like a costume theme.
Right. Well, some were mine. Some were, just an element of like a shirt. Some I had nothing on. So, I love that sort of what I really wanted to celebrate the body physical. And so I wanted whatever I was wearing to really show the body, but not in a sort of sexy way, but really just from a physical standpoint, that it would allow me to show the work that I had done. Because one of the elements, to sort of backtrack, that it was very important to me as a woman in my 50s, that I needed and I wanted for myself to show that I didn't just wake up one morning and go, oh, I think I'm going to take some pictures, and just throw on these costumes like a circus act, but that there was work behind it, and the body, the muscles, the tone, that was going to be my calling card to say, oh, she's not kidding around here. She really does do this. Like this didn't just happen overnight. She didn't put on some stockings and go to, and just hire someone and say, oh, I'm going to stick my leg up in the air, but that, there's really work behind this. So the costumes were one, like, for example, there's a nod to Broadway, because I've always loved Bob Fosse. I grew up in New York. I grew up around theater, and so there's that picture of me in a jacket with a cigarette and a fedora. Outside, we were actually in an alleyway, and I won't even tell you what that smelled like. That was very scary. But sort of have that sort of backstage, authentic feel to it. So, yeah, it was a fun character development for me.
So I think so many women would say to themselves, like, who am I to expose my talents to the world? Like, what does it take for you to push through your own personal limiting beliefs? And any words of advice for other women on just having the confidence to try something or to expose their beauty, their talent to the world?
Well, first let me begin by saying that I was one of those women, and I still am one of those women, and that I don't think, even whenever you're pushing your art, that it ever gets any easier, because you're always sort of up in the ante, and that if you do have those butterflies, the fear, that's part of the equation, that to expect to do something that you care about or love, or certainly put yourself out there on the line, is intimidating. It's basically asking of yourself and of the world, accept my art. Will I be good enough? I mean, these are questions that we ask ourselves daily, and they're natural and they're normal. And the thing is not to try to rid yourself of your fear, but to bring your fear along with you, to do it in spite of your fear. Because I can tell you, I mean, every time before I do a photo shoot, I cry.
Right.
Because it's scary. You just don't know, well, this time will I do the right thing? So that fear is just part of it, and I say go for it. Jump in there, do your art, because what you're going to get at the other side of that rainbow, and that sounds so corny, but honest to God, is this empowerment, this fulfillment, this oh my God moment where you say, I can't believe I did it. And that sort of self-esteem that happens, that you just can't even, that filling up your creative tank, it's an undescribable feeling, but it only comes from doing it. You can't think about it, and you can't wait until what I call the confidence fairy, which doesn't exist, by the way. comes and sprinkles confidence in your eyes. As I say, I still don't have confidence. I do it. I'm always doing it sort of with this, like, oh God, I don't know, and I'm scared, but you just jump in, and it really is just the most gratifying feeling. I mean, I shake after I do it. I'm always crying after every photo shoot I do. I break down and I cry because I'm like, I look back and I go, my God, I did that, and it's just remarkable.
Wow. All right, we only have 2 minutes left, and I know that when I saw your information come through, I did Google your father, Mark Goodson. We mentioned him at the beginning. He's basically an icon in the television world. Tell us the one, and I'm sure there are a bunch, but tell us one key thing that you learned growing up with a TV icon.
Well, I grew up with a man that was hardworking, creative, loving, who never believed in taking shortcuts. His basic, primary work ethic was just that you had to, approach everything as it was. And he just worked very, very hard and was fair and honest, and that's how he approached his life. That's how he approached fatherhood. That's how he approached his work. And he never stopped. He never rested on his laurels. And I think, with his passing, I've adopted those philosophies, and I live and breathe his words every day. He lives with me, inside of me.
That's awesome.
and to never stop, just to keep going. That's
great. So thank you so much for joining us today, Marjorie. Anybody listening, please go to her website, Marjorie Goodson, GOODSON.com, MarjorieGoodson.com. Check out some of the photos, and all the information's on there, so you can download or to go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, IndieBound, to pick up a copy of her incredible coffee table book, MG. Thank you so much, Marjorie.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks,
been great.
Marjorie.
Thank you for letting me carry on.
You're very welcome. It was great having you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.